Alright guys, we were completing our ledgers and 10 ledgers were completed. It's time to see what's the next ledger. Last ledger which we have made was the discount ledger. Let's go back. And this discount you had completed. Next unmarked entry is carriage. We have found out the next title. We are going to make ledger for carriage. So what we are going to do, just put the name over here, carriage. It was the title, carriage, and now we will see where this name carriage is present in journal. If it is present on debit side, we will be putting same amount on debit side of carriage's ledger, and if carriage is present on credit side of the journal, if carriage is present on credit side of the journal, we will choose the credit side of the ledger as well. Let's go to the journal entry and see if carriage is present anywhere. So here first carriage has arrived. It is debited by 1200. So we will go to the ledger and we'll write 1200 on debit side. Now let's see what was the reference for this 1200. This carriage we have posted. What is written on the opposite side? It's to cash. So as a reference we are going to write to cash. Let's see the date of this 1200. As you can see, the 1200 is debited. February 6 is the date. So we are going to put February 6. Date is mentioned, reference is mentioned, and amount has been posted. It means entry including 1200 is completed. So we can mark it as it has been done. Alright, and the next entry which we are going to do, still carriage account is incomplete, so we'll see if carriage is present anywhere else. Okay, second carriage has arrived. I was thinking that was the only one entry, but carriage again is present. 1600 is debited. So after 1200 you are going to write 1600 on debit side. Let's see what was the reference for this 1600. You can see it's February 27. Oh, I have seen the date, February 27. We were searching the reference of 1600. So what is written on the opposite side? It is to cash. So to cash will be used as the reference. Reference is completed. Date has been mentioned. Amount has been posted 1600. It means this entry is completed and we can mark it as it has been done. After this we will start our search again for carriage if it is present anywhere else as well. No, entries are completed. It means all related entries related to carriage are posted. It's time to calculate its balance, for which we will follow some steps. First step is to take sum of both sides. On debit side there are two amounts. This is the balance of debit side. On credit side nothing is mentioned. It means total of credit side is 0. Now make the comparison of both total and choose the larger sum. We have 2800, which is the larger sum, and this sum will be used to write on both debit and credit side. We will write this 2800 on debit side and same total we are going to put on credit side. So first step is completed. Took sum of both sides, taken a larger sum, and had written on total of both sides. Now next step is to choose the smaller side, which is over here. 0 is the total of credit side. We will choose this side to calculate our balance. But which balance we are going to calculate? It is initial balance, and by subtracting smaller sum from the larger sum, amount of balance would be calculated. On calculator we will write larger sum first and then we will subtract the smaller sum. Here you can see the larger sum is 2800. Put 2800 first and subtract the smaller total, which is 0. This way you have calculated your initial balance. Next step is to brought this balance downwards. Here we have calculated balance, initial balance on credit side. Go to the opposite debit side, come downwards, down step to the total which we have calculated, and you are now supposed to write the same initial total which has been calculated, but with the twisted name. You will name it as balance, but which balance? It would be BD. Why? Because we have brought this balance down, BD for balance brought down, and this was the purpose of making carriage ledger. As balance has been derived, purpose is completed, so we can mark it as completed ledger by putting an ending line after balance brought down. Alright, and then these sums were written just for the reference. Our purpose has been completed, so we can erase. Next ledger we are going to make, for which we are hiding our headings. Same heading will be used over here except for the title, and we will change its title by looking. Beside this, we'll have to change the number as well. Discount ledger, and then carriage was 11th ledger, and now we are making next ledger which would be the 12th ledger. So just change the title. We had completed carriage. Now let's go upward and see what is next after carriage, which is unmarked. This carriage we have completed. Next unmarked entry is Rashid, account receivable. So we have found out the next title is Rashid as account receivable. So put account receivable over here. And what we will be doing, we will now be searching. We will now be searching Rashid. If it is present on debit side, we will choose same debit side in the ledger and we'll put amount over here. And if Rashid is present on credit side, we will choose credit side of the ledger as well. So 12th ledger, let's go upward and search Rashid. These are completed entries, and Rashid we have found out over here, but we'll have to see if there is anything above. No. So first time when Rashid we have seen is over here. 68,000 is written on debit side. So you will write 68,000 in amount column. Now see reference of this 68,000. Here to sale is written on the opposite side of Rashid. This sale will be used to write the reference in particular column. Now see the date for 68,000. It was February 9. So put date Feb 9 over here. Date is mentioned, reference is mentioned, amount is written. So entry including 68,000 is completed. We are marking it as completed entry. Making ledger Rashid. So we will be looking Rashid again. Both on debit and credit side is possible for Rashid. We'll have to be very careful for Rashid. We are looking, but Rashid has not arrived over here. But we'll have to be satisfied, and let's take one more time searching Rashid. Okay, Rashid was here, 68,000 posted. Now we are searching again for Rashid. If it is present, look, you will have to do the same procedure. Will be very careful. If a single entry will be missed, it means you will be in great trouble. Okay, all entries related to Rashid has been posted. It means we can start balancing our ledger. First step is to calculate the sum of both sides. 68,000 is sum of debit side, and there is only one amount. 0 is the balance of credit side, as nothing is mentioned over there. Now make the comparison and choose the larger sum. Larger sum was 68,000. Go upside and write this larger sum 68,000 on total of both sides. We have written on debit side, and now we will be writing it on credit side. This way, step 1 is completed. Took sum, larger sum you have picked up, and larger sum is written on total of both sides. Next step is to see which side is the smaller side. You can see 0 is the total of credit side, so credit side is the smaller side. This side will be chosen to calculate balance, but which balance we will calculate? The initial balance. We will subtract smaller sum from the larger sum to calculate this balance. On calculator we will write larger sum first, and then we will subtract the smaller. Larger is 68,000, you can see over here, and smaller sum is 0, so subtract 0 here. You have calculated your initial balance 68,000. It's now time to put this balance downwards. Right now we have calculated it on credit side. We will go to the opposite debit side. We'll come downwards, down step to the total, and we'll write the same total, same initial total which we have calculated, 68,000. This would change its title as well. It would be called balance, but balance BD. BD for balance brought down, as we have brought this balance from upper to downward to the opposite side. Sole purpose of making Rashid's ledger was to calculate its balance brought down, which we have already done, so we are marking it as completed ledger. These amounts were written just for the reference. Now they are unnecessary to be written over here, so you can erase it. It's time to see our next ledger. For that purpose, we are just taking the same headings which we have used for the previous ledger, and we will be changing just the title, and we will search what new title would be after Rashid. We have completed account of Rashid. Let's go upward and see where Rashid is present. So Rashid was here, and next unmarked entry is for Faisal account payable. We have found out our title, Faisal account payable. Now we are going to put our title, and since it was your account payable, so we'll also be mentioning Faisal as account receivable. Let's go upward and search Faisal again. So for the first time, when we see Faisal is present on credit side, 52,000 on credit side, put 52,000 in amount column, and now see what was the reference of this 52,000. We can see over here purchase is written on the opposite side, so it will be used as reference. Write down with an additional word of buy. So buy purchase would be the reference. Time to see the date of 52,000, and 52,000 you are looking over here. Purchase we already mentioned, February 10 is the date. So let's grab the date and put February 10 over here. Date is mentioned, reference is given, amount has been posted. It means entry including 52,000 is completed. We are picking it and marking it as it has been done. Making ledger of Faisal. Now we are supposed to see where Faisal is present at any other place. So our search was started from here, and we are looking for Faisal. This is, all entries are marked, so we may not be very much attentive over here. Faisal we are looking. Let's start the search again from here, going downwards, and we are looking for Faisal. And why we are unable to see Faisal anywhere? How we have picked it? Going downwards and searching for Faisal. Let's start our journey again. So where we have seen Faisal, this was Faisal 52,000. We have bought goods from Faisal, and we are unable to see Faisal again after that entry. So final conclusion is Faisal is not present anywhere else. Alright, as we have searched Faisal for so many times, that means Faisal is present just once in our journal entries, just separating our ledger into two sides. Amount 52,000 was the only amount related to Faisal. It's time to calculate its balance. For that purpose, you will take sum of both sides. Sum of debit side is 0 as nothing is mentioned anywhere else. 52,000 is the sum of credit side as 52,000 was the only amount. Now it's time to make comparison of both total. Choose the larger sum, which is 52,000, and you are going to put this larger sum on total of both sides. 52,000 you will write on credit side and same total will be put on debit side as well. Now choose the smaller side. Here total was 0, so smaller side is debit side, and this side will be used to calculate your balance. Which balance? It would be initial balance. Subtracting smaller sum from the larger sum is the way to calculate this balance. On calculator we will put larger sum first and then smaller sum. Larger sum was 52,000. Write down at first step and then subtract the smaller sum, which was 0. So we have calculated initial balance. Next step is to take this balance downward. Right now we are on debit side. We will go to the credit side, opposite side, and will come down step to the total which is recently calculated, and there you will write the initial balance. Since it was an initial balance, after bringing it down we will change its title. So now title will be balance BD, BD for balance brought down. You will change its title, highlight it, and this was the only purpose of making ledger for Faisal. As purpose has been fulfilled, now mark it as it has been done by putting an ending line after balance brought down. These sums were written just for the reference and now they are unneeded to be written over here, so you may erase them. Next ledger we will make by taking all entries from all headings from the previous ledger and using the same headings to make next ledger. Next ledger would be 13th ledger, and for that purpose you will erase previous headings. And let me see the number. I'll have to confirm after. Yes, 11. Rashid was 12 and Faisal is 13th ledger, and see next ledger would be the 14th ledger. We have completed Faisal's ledger. Go upside and search Faisal first. Okay, we will see where Faisal is. So we are coming down and looking for Faisal. Why we have taken Faisal? This was the Faisal which we have completed. Alright, and after that first entry which is unmarked is here, 2000 discount received. We have found out that next title discount received. We will change the title. First it is discount, but it is discount received, so you may mention over here so that we can have an absolute clarity. It's time to see the discount received if it is present anywhere in our ledger. This was your discount received which is credited 2000. So we'll go to the ledger and we'll write amount first. 2000 credit column is chosen to write the amount. It's time to see its reference of 2000, and here you have written discount. What is written on the opposite side? Mahmood account payable. So this will be used for the reference by Mahmood account payable 2000. See the date for this 2000 is February 11. Put date in date column. February 11, date is written, reference is given, amount has been posted, so entry including 2000 is completed, so mark it as it has been done. Now see if discount received is present anywhere else. We'll have to be careful. Discount received, yes, arrived 1200 on credit side again. So after 2000 you are going to write 1200, and now see the reference of 1200. What is written on the opposite side? It is SN account payable. This will be used for reference by SN account payable. We have got it. And now see what was the date of 1200. It was February 21. You can see over here. So come over here and write down February 21. Date is written, reference given, amount posted. So entry including 1200 is completed. So we are going to mark it as it has been done. This discount received is completed. We are marking it. Ledger for discount received is still incomplete. We will see if discount received is present anywhere else as well, but no. In other words, this discount ledger posting is completed. It's time to calculate its balance. For that purpose, what you will do, you will see the sum of both sides first. So I will take sum of credit side. There are two amounts. This is sum of credit side and sum of debit side is 0 as nothing is mentioned over here. Next step is to make comparison of both sums and pick the larger sum. Larger sum is 3200, so go and write down the larger sum 3200 on both sides, return 3200 on credit side. And now you are supposed to write same total on opposite debit side, just parallel. One step is completed. You have taken sum, chosen the larger sum and written on total of both sides. Next step is to choose the smaller side. 0 is the total of debit, so this debit side will be chosen due to smaller side, and we will calculate our initial balance, that is balance. How would we calculate it? By subtracting smaller total from the larger total. On calculator you will write larger sum first and then you will subtract the smaller. This is larger sum 3200 and will subtract the smaller sum which is 0. Here you have calculated your initial balance. Next step is to bring it down. We are on debit side. We'll go to the opposite side. We'll come down step to the total where you will write this initial balance recently calculated. Now since you have brought it downside, you will change its title. It is balance. Which balance? BD. BD is used for brought down. So we named it balance brought down and it was the sole purpose of making ledger. So ledger of discount received is completed. As balance brought down we have calculated. Mark it as it has been done by putting an ending line after that. So these balances, these sums were written just for the reference. Now they are unneeded to be put over here, so you may erase them. Next ledger we are making. For that what we will do, we will choose same headings of previous ledger and we'll use these headings to make next ledger just by changing the title. So we can remove this title, discount received, change the number. Now it's 15th ledger. What we have completed is discounts ledger. Let's go back and grab the discount first. What you have completed was this discount. Discount received 2000, after which first unmarked entry is for wages. So we are going to make next ledger with the title wages. Alright, but we are not changing any heading over here. Same headings are used. So if wages are present on debit side of journal, we will choose this debit side of ledger and vice versa. Let's go and see where wages are present. Here first 800 wages are debited, so we will choose debit side and we'll write 800. Now see what was the reference of this 800. 2 cash is written on the opposite side. This will be used as reference to cash. And now see date of 800, which is February 12. Put date Feb 12. Date is mentioned, reference is given, amount has been posted, so entry including 800 is completed. So we are marking it as completed entry, making ledger of wages. So let's search wages if they are present at, yes, we have found out another amount of wages which is debited 1600. So we'll go and write down 1600 on debit side as wages were present on debit side. Now it's time to see 1600 reference. This was the 1600, and what is written on the opposite side? To cash. So to cash will be used to give reference, and we'll write in particular column. Now see date for 1600. This 1600 posted, February 20 was the date. So we will put February 20. Now see after February 20, these wages have been posted, its date has been mentioned, its reference to cash has been posted, amount has been written 1600. It means this entry including 600 is completed, so we are marking it as completed. Wages we were searching, so we'll go downwards and see if wages are present anywhere else as well, but no. So it means all entries related to wages have been posted. It's time to calculate its balance. For balance, same procedure we will apply. The first step is to calculate the total of both sides. Here I am taking sum of debit side as our first step. There are two amounts present over here. This is sum of debit side 2400, and we will calculate the sum of credit side, which is 0, as nothing is mentioned over here. Then make a comparison of both total. Choose larger sum, which is 2400, and you are going to write larger sum on total of both sides. At debit side total you have written 2400, and same amount would be written on total of credit side. This way your first step is completed. You have taken sum of both sides, chosen the larger sum, and had put on total of both sides. First step completed. Now see which side is the smaller side. 0 is the total of credit, so credit side is the smaller side, and this side will be used to calculate our balance. Which one? Initial balance. You will subtract the smaller sum from the larger sum to calculate the balance. On calculator you will write larger sum first, and then you will subtract the smaller. Larger sum was 2400, and you will subtract the smaller sum, which is 0, and here you have calculated your initial balance 2400. Next step to bring it downward. Here you have written your initial balance on credit side. Go to the debit side, means opposite side, and come downwards, down step to the total, and write down the initial balance which you have calculated 2400. Put over here. Since you have brought this balance down, so change its title. Here you will write by balance, but which balance? It would be BD. BD is used for brought down, and sole purpose of making any ledger is to calculate balance brought down. We have calculated this balance for wages. It means ledger for wages is completed. We can mark it as completed ledger by putting a line after balance brought down. These sums were calculated just for the reference, and now they are unneeded to be written over here. You can erase them. So ledger of wages is completed. It's time to make next ledger, for which we are taking the same headings of previous ledger. We will be just changing the title and the number. 15th ledger we had made. Next ledger is 16. So in terms of numbering, we had completed 15, 14, 13. Okay, numbers are good. What we have done is wages. Let's go back and see. These were the wages we have completed. Let's see if wages were present anywhere else. So first wages were 800, and there were two wages. I'm hopeful. Second wages were 1600. You can see over here. So first number of wages we have seen was 800. Next unmarked entry is carriage. So next step is to make ledger for carriage, and I am looking if we have already made carriage, because there is a sound in my sixth sense striking that it might be possible we have made ledger for carriage. So I can't see. It means it's the first time we are making ledger for carriage. Let's change the title of our new ledger, that is carriage. Why my doubt is not ending? Carriage, if you are here, please let us know. Okay, this carriage ledger is also completed. That is what I was saying. Now let's see why we have selected this carriage which was present unmarked. You can see over here this 1600 is unmarked. February 13, we'll have to check the ledger for carriage. If 1600 we have written, 1600 is written February 27, and it was February 27, and carriage is marked. That means why one amount was unmarked for carriage? Look, these sort of questions, this was unmarked February 13, 1600. Carriage, February 13 entry is missed because amounts were similar. Here it was supposed to be written after February 26. There was an entry February 13, and that entry was missed. So you are going to make some place for February 13, and we have seen that entry was present on debit side. Let's go back February 13, and here you can see carriage is present 1600, and you are going to put this amount February 1600 over here. See the reference, that was I think to cash February 13. So reference, here we have found out what is written on the opposite side, to cash. So you will write to cash as reference over here. Date is mentioned, reference is given, 1600 posted, so we can mark that 1600 as completed entry. And now it's time to see its balance as well, carriage account. First we will take the sum of both sides here at sideway, because we are not getting the proper place. So we will calculate sum of debit side. It is 4400. Sum of credit side is 0, as nothing is mentioned over here. So we will be, now credit side sum is 0. Now make the comparison of both total. Total of debit side is 400, credit side 0. Choose the larger sum, which is 4400, and put 4400 on total of both sides. You have written 4400 on debit. Now write down same total on credit side as well. Make comparison and choose. First step we have completed. We have taken sum of both sides. Larger sum has been put on total of both sides. Choose the smaller side. 0 was the total of credit side. It means credit side is smaller side. We will choose credit side to calculate the balance by subtracting smaller sum from the larger. On calculator we will write larger sum first, 4400, and then we are going to subtract the smaller sum, which is 0. This way you have calculated your balance for carriage, and now it's time to bring it back downward. You have already done it. It means balance brought down for carriage has been calculated. Ledger for carriage is completed. Let's little settle down. A line was missing from that place. So this way ledger for carriage is also completed. So where we were, here carriage was not the ledger. Next, one amount was unmarked, and we have adjusted that amount. Last ledger which was completed was of wages. Let's go back and search wages. Here you have found out the wages and remaining ledgers are already completed. Next unmarked entry we can find out is SN account payable. So this would be our next journey to make SN's ledger. So put title first, SN, and since he was your account payable, write down the account payable title as well. After 15-16 ledger, okay. So we'll be looking SN now, going upward and searching for SN. All entries above are marked. Here you can see. Let's see what entry is unmarked. We are coming down. This is SN, 30,000 is being credited. So go to the ledger of SN and write down 30,000 on credit side. Same side we are choosing. 30,000 was present on credit side in journal, and same credit side is being chosen in ledger as well. Go back for 30,000. Here it has been arrived 30,000, and we'll have to see if yes, 30,000 is present upward. And what is written on the opposite side? Purchase. Write down buy purchase as reference of 30,000. See what was the date of this 30,000. It was February 19A. Put date February 19A. Date is mentioned, reference is given, amount has been posted 30,000. So it means this 30,000 is completed to be posted. Mark it as it has been done. We are making ledger of SN. Now start looking SN again. SN arrived February 21. SN is debited by 30,000, but there are two amounts, 28,800 and 1,200, and SN is written on debit side. So you will choose the debit side of the ledger, but you will not be able to write 30,000 as it is divided into two parts, 28,800 and 1,200. SN debit, and you will write 28,800 and 1,200. Amounts has been written. It's time to see what was the reference of 28,800 and 1,200. You can see over here SN was posted 30,000. Since it was divided into two parts, so we have written two amounts. Collectively it would be debited 30,000. Two references, cash and discount, will be used in particular column. So you will write to cash first for 2800 and then to discount received for 1200. Go back and see what was the date, February 21. So put date February 21 in date column in front of cash, and same date you will be using for discount as well. This back slash is not necessary to be written. Okay, so dates are mentioned, both references are given, both amounts are posted. It means entry for 30,000 is completed. We are marking it as completed entry 30,000. Now we will search SN again. You will see if SN is present anywhere else. No, SN is not present. It means all entries related to SN are being posted. It's time to calculate its total. It's time to calculate its balance, and the calculation of balance has some steps. First step is to take sum of both sides. First we are taking sum of debit side. Here it has been arrived 30,000, and sum of credit side, it is 30,000 as it's the only amount mentioned on credit side. Now make comparison of both total. You can see first time in our question both sides are equal. it means you will not be able to calculate balance, as initial balance is calculated by subtracting smaller sum from the larger. When there is no smaller sum, there is no larger sum, you won't be able to calculate balance. So what you will do, you will choose total of both sides and will write 30,000 as it's the only balance, only sum, and you will write 30,000 on both sides. Otherwise we were supposed to choose smaller side to calculate the balance, and since there is no smaller side, will not be able to choose any side to calculate the balance. So without even calculation of balance brought down, this ledger of SN has been completed, as it is impossible to calculate the balance brought down. For that, what you will do, you will mark it as completed entry, completed ledger. SN's account has been completed. SN9 by mistake is written, delete it. SN account payable ledger is completed. We will now be making next ledger, for which we will hire the same headings of previous ledger. Here, except for the title, everything is same. We will now change the title. SN's ledger is completed. So next working is to see the title of next lecture. We will go back. I think we should take the break. It's been 40 minutes, and after a short break we will come back and we'll see the making of next ledgers. And for the time being, we are taking break. I'm very hopeful you are with me, enjoying the work, though it's very long question, and believe me, if you can feel that I'm not tired, I'm not been bored, I love my work. That is why I enjoy the longer questions. I'm very hopeful there may be some of the students present over here, some of the listeners present over here, they are not bored, they are enjoying in the same way. I wish someone can share their feelings in comment section as well. For the time being, uh, we are going away, and we will be meeting soon again. Thank you very much for your time. Take care. Allah Hafiz.